I'm trained to take quick showers.
Let's hope you took the real showers, not the old. Wasn't a real shower. We smelled y'all.
And you over here nudging?
Hey. Yeah, my boy. Moses is a knucklehead.
Like, what I do to you?
What did I do to you?
What's going on, y'all? I am Lauren Moses, your favorite dog mom, foodie, pasta lover, all the things. You see the jersey back there. Also, former UVA women's basketball player and all-academic team member. What can I say?
Yeah.
But today I'm here with my big brother.
And it's your boy Dezman Moses, former Green Bay Packer, Kansas City Chief, Green Wave, Iowa Hawkeye. I'm a Jersey representative always, so you know I'm going to keep it real with you. Lauren, what we got to look forward today in the show?
Today, we're going to go down memory lane a little bit, right?
Yeah,
we're going to talk about some of the things we wish we had today that we had when we were athletes, pro level, college. We're going to get into it.
Yeah, I like that because I got a couple memories, a couple things I like to play back.
Yeah, and we got to also get into coaching, right? Because that's a huge thing now, relationships with coaches, tough coaching at that, and how you kind of deal with that.
We've had some good ones. We've had some bad ones. We'll talk about both and what made them good and bad.
And then we got to get to the nitty gritty. You're a girl dad.
Right.
But some conversations you just don't learn about in school, like sexual intercourse. Let's just throw it out there.
Yeah.
When is the perfect time?
When do they need to? Is soon, too soon? How soon is that?
Too late? Who knows?
Yeah.
Right? But we have to start off with something that is very serious.
Okay.
Right? Suicide rates. We've seen the first 4 or 5 months of 2022 for college athletes, all female, have committed suicide. Obviously, conversations about mental health are very high right now, but it's extremely disheartening as a college athlete who, seek therapy and, thought I was doing, some of the similar things that these women are doing and not seeing any change.
Well, I think it's tough. As athletes, we've both been it. We have so much on our plates, from scholastic, the academic part, the team, the social side. We can't discount that these athletes are human beings.
Yeah.
They may be dealing with relationships. It may be weeks or months where they're not doing well socially. They're away from their family, the responsibility. For me, I remember going off to Iowa at 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I remember leaving my family. I'm going out there. I'm doing the things I think I should be doing, but I'm still having to learn. The 5 a.m. workouts. I'm late, class. I'm not going as much. I'm partying a little more. This affected me on the field. I was a heck of a player. I played as a true freshman at Iowa. The one thing that they kept saying to me is, we don't trust you. And for me, I was just spinning. I'm trying to figure out exactly how to
You're battling all those
deal
factors.
with college. Yeah. And I know a lot of athletes can do it. I didn't get to the point where I was in full depression, but I know athletes are dealing with it, especially in this time of day with social media. And now we're seeing the suicide rate increase.
We have to have conversations within. You're seeing a lot of schools. Louisville just came out with a new role for each sports team to be able to speak with someone, to not even just speak, but have that presence, whether that's the locker room, whether that's practice. I know at UVA, we had a sports therapist who was very visible.
Yeah.
He would come talk to us before games, come talk to us after games. He'd be in the meal room before games. Like, he was just very active. And it wasn't just our sport.
Right.
It was him and another female in the sports psychology department, but they made their presence known to just be like, hey, the first time you come talk to us doesn't have to be the first time you ever speak to us.
And these people are super valuable. Lauren, you were a college athlete. Tell them about a regular day as a student athlete. What did it look like?
Ooh.
What are the pressures?
Early morning. I mean, it's like you're given a schedule, right? So every morning it's something, whether that's 5 a.m., 6 a.m. It's a morning workout. It's pushing through that workout if you're awake. If you ain't partying too much the morning before, it's running from that workout to shower, take a 2-minute shower. My sister always be like, you take the quick. Yes, I'm trained to take quick showers, okay? you take the quickest shower, you grab something out of the refrigerator, whether that's yogurt, a protein shake, water, and you go to that 8 a.m. class, and you sit there and act like you care.
Let's hope you took the real showers, not the old. We had some of them teammates that took the... Wasn't a real shower. We smelled y'all.
No, I'm a lady, okay? I did my thing. You run off to class. You might have a couple hours of class. You run right back to the gym.
Sure.
Better get on the bus on time. If you miss the bus, you will be running to the gym so you're not late and have a punishment. But that adds another layer of pressure,
Right.
of stress. I don't want to glaze over this, right? Because you mentioned depression, the big, bad, scary word. And I think about when you went away to Iowa, I was, still a kid. I was in middle school. I was the only kid in the house at the time. So I didn't expect us to talk every day. But you say you had a glimpse of depression then.
Sure.
How did you get through that? What were some of the ways that you figured it out?
It's tough because, you're 18 years old. You feel like you're up against the world. This feels like the end all be all of your life. I don't make a pro, I'm going to. But it was the friendships, and one in particular with still to this day, one of my best friends, Jordan Bernstein, shout out to my guy, but he was my roommate. And we used to really encourage each other. We used to have these deep conversations, egos aside. If we need to shed a tear or two, it stayed in that room. And it was somebody that I could trust and lean on. For me, that was the way I wiggled out of there. But it wasn't easy because I was isolated a little bit from the team based on some of the suspensions and stuff that went on.
And also the demographic, right? Because Iowa's not, it doesn't have much of a Black community, especially the school.
Yeah.
And I can relate on that at UVA. It was very hard for me because, most of the Black people that I saw every day were my teammates.
Absolutely.
And when you're looking for something outside of basketball, it's really hard to find people that relate, that understand what you're going through as a Black person at the University of Virginia, as well as the history of the University of Virginia. I mean, we're founded by a slave himself, Thomas Jefferson, right? And so there's a lot of different layers to figuring out who I can identify as outside of a basketball player on the grounds where my ancestors we're building.
How
really.
did you do that, though?
Educating yourself, right? And calling people out on the history. I think something at UVA that, I didn't like it a lot when I was there was not addressing what took place on these grounds, not addressing how Black women were the backs of the white men on these grounds. And I think, now they have a memorial for the slaves that worked there. And like have done everything at the University of Virginia, or I should say in Charlottesville, Virginia. But I think when we talk about what's happening today and what can be done today, we have to understand what it is that they're going through on and off the field and put action behind it.
Absolutely. Guys, pay attention to your friends. This is a serious topic, but it's something we can't glaze over because clearly these athletes are struggling.
Keeping track of where we're at in society is important. And I feel like another topic that does get glazed over because we're just supposed to know is children being schooled on sexual intercourse.
It's too early though. Because if you educate them early, now they're interested earlier. But if you don't, now they're ignorant and maybe
exactly. But how do you exactly?
Early.
So let's say what is early? What age is too early?
We learned in my day, back in my day, we learned in I believe it was middle school, 7th grade. We learned how to use condoms, how to put them on. The young girls learned about, the tampons and contraceptives.
Yeah.
We didn't exercise many of them, but we were taught it at a young age, but it did make us more curious. I know that, kids my age back in the, early 2000s, they were having sex by middle school, high school. I feel like kids these days are having sexual relations earlier. How early is too early? I mean, there's people that promote this for their children. Obviously, sex is a part of life. It's natural. But I feel like we're getting into these conversations a tick too early.
I don't know.
For my taste.
I don't know if it's too early. I think that right around the middle school age is when, like you said, whether it's condoms, whether it's tampons, I think it's what is going to keep the child safe. Okay. It should be of utmost importance, right? And I don't know if an age is particularly needs to be tied to that because if we don't, they're still going to do it.
So you're saying regardless whether we show them, whether we teach them or not,
it's not necessarily about showing. I think it's about communicating, right? Okay. We always come back to this word of communication. I don't think that we talk enough in the household first before we can even get to the school of what age or what teacher. I think those conversations have to happen in the household because that's how you build up rebellious children.
Right. Well, it's tricky, though, because if you don't talk about it, now the children, they have internet. By the time they get to middle school, they have internet.
They're going to see it somewhere.
So the internet or somebody else's, some other adult is teaching your child things that you may or may not want them to know, which leads me to my next point. Are we already over-sexualized? Are we talking about homosexual activities now? How far do we take it? What's too soon? Do they need to know about the homophobic side as well? Are we making them curious? Because this is a stage, especially for children, they're easily affected. They're easily
influenced. And
Absolutely.
that's a good point because, bringing in sexuality into it is a whole nother avenue, right? Because
they get enough sex everywhere else.
Yeah, no, but just even like the different types of sexuality,
Sure.
right? You're a dad. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna ask this instead.
Okay.
They always say that a parent knows when their child starts getting different.
Different, okay.
So what if she comes home and she's acting a little different, a little bit more promiscuous, a little bit more sneaky? Because you have some stories now. I got some stories too.
I done been outside for a long time. Y'all.
Getting caught in the house. But
I got away with more than I got caught.
But what if that happens?
Yeah.
What is your reaction? Because I know you.
Sure.
So be 100 now.
Well, hypothetically, I want to respond in, a very calculated, communicative way, and have this conversation with my daughter, and see what's going on. But honestly, I'll probably be a little bit hurt. I'll probably have to have a real tough conversation as far as figuring out why. Why are you moving like this?
So you'll be a little hurt if it was little Naomi.
Little bit. That's my baby girl.
But what if it was future son?
Little DJ?
Little DJ.
Young Desi? Hey, do your thing, boy. Hey, I see you.
What?
What? I never said life was fair. We know that.
So without the education even, you're not even going to have the conversation. It's just, go ahead, little homie.
Well, it's funny because I'm joking, but this is how some of the affirmation happens, because the dads will joke and say, that's my boy. And some of which I felt growing up. It was like, don't have girls in the house, but I see you, boy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So in so many words, I knew if I were to get caught, this is not the end of the world. I'm already getting the nudge.
But me, on the other hand, I get my phone taken for 6 months.
Yeah. Not playing.
Big Vern.
Way to go, Big Vern.
6 months? And you over here nudging?
Hey, my boy.
I cannot. I absolutely cannot deal with this.
It's not fair. It's one of those things I can say straight out. Life is not fair. For me as a father, I would definitely handle each situation differently. But you also have to, because each child is different. And it has to do partly with personality. I was an extremist. Thank God you were a little bit different.
Whew, very much reserved over here.
Take your time, learn. It's okay not to have any type of sex until you're comfortable, until you find that one.
Yeah. But now that we've gone down memory lane, I'm very much over this conversation, especially now that I know that Daddy was over here nudging you. We have to wrap it back to sports. Because there are a few things that I can think of in my head from college days that I would love to have to this day.
I got to roll up my sleeves on this one.
Things that we want to bring back from our glory days.
I would say the camaraderie. I miss the guys. That's one of my favorite parts of sports. Your teammates. I talked a little bit about one of my best friends and teammates, Jordan Bernstein, but he wasn't the only guy. Whether it was junior, high school, every single level I had a teammate, had a couple guys where I could trust, that I could lean on, that, through the hard times, I could go to and say, man, this stinks, but let's get it.
Yeah.
Let's do this. That is important. One of the greatest parts of sports, something I would love to bring back.
I truly miss someone creating a schedule for me. I feel like adulthood would be so much easier if someone gave me exactly what I need to do every day. I think that's like a big part of like real life too. It's like you have to figure these things out on your own, right? But as an athlete, I think it was easier to manage my time because I knew exactly what I needed to do. Right. Has that helped me in my life now? Yes. But is that something that I want someone else to do for me for free, by the way? And I'm getting paid to be here? Oh, well, not paid, but scholarship money.
Yeah.
I'll gladly take that. Definitely. One on the head for sure.
Bring it back. Bring it back. We miss sports. We're athletes, obviously, old ones now. All of those experiences, I miss them all equally. We got to talk about my guy, Coach
June.
We had a coach in high school, both Lauren and I, he trained us. This guy was from North Jersey, man. He's just a character.
He once told me that he swam from Africa to the United States.
And I believe him.
And he will never waver on that story.
But this man will pick us up in the morning, 6 a.m. You better be ready to go. I mean, he was on 10 at 6 a.m. He once drove us up to New York, took us around the boroughs, and we played pickup. We hopped out the van. It was 16 to 17-year-old young men. He said, you don't win, you don't eat. These type of experiences, we sweating on top of each other.
Yeah.
You just can't mimic in the real world. You had to have been an athlete to feel it, to love it, to be there.
And my experiences with him were a little different, obviously, because we're girls, right? Like, he's not about to say we can't eat. He would find the hottest YMCA and take me and his 2 daughters and maybe another girl to work out with us. And we would just play 2-on-2 for hours. like on a half court and just compete, just go as hard as we can. And I liked working out with him because he was always harder on his daughters, obviously.
Absolutely.
But it was also, I knew what was coming out his mouth to them. And I did not want him saying that to me because, daddy gave him free reign. It was, I don't care what you do to her. Just make sure she come back to me better.
We've all had those coaches who coached us tough. And a lot of these coaches were in our neighborhoods. They would cuss us out, talk bad to us. But after practice, they will hug your neck.
Yeah.
They'd come to you and tell you, hey, Moses, look, I know I got to get on you, kid. You got the ability. We got to maximize. So it's a form of love. And then we had those coaches who cuss us, and it seemed like it was personal. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, what
I do to you?
What did I do to you?
For me, I think where it draws the line, between bad and tough coaching is the action. If I am getting through the toughness, man, I like what you're saying, but if I'm getting through it and I'm struggling through it and there is no positive reinforcement, that's bad coaching to me.
Yeah.
Because it can't always be negative. It can't always be tearing down.
For me, number one, it's the fundamentals. Can you teach me how to be better, a better player, a better person? And secondly, it's the love, because that's the intent. If I know that you're coaching me hard because you know that I have it in me and you want to get it out, I love you.
Yeah.
If you're doing this because you don't necessarily like me, you really just want to poke at me, you really just want to tear me down, which I've had coaches do that even at the professional level.
And how did you get through? I mean, at the professional level, you're getting paid to be there.
Oh yeah, it was tough. I had a coach in the pros call me a knucklehead. I had to straight check the whole meeting. I'm like, hold on. He said, yeah, he's a good kid. He's a money maker. He went back. Moses is a knucklehead. Ooh, knucklehead? Coach, the hell are you talking about? I went to Tulane. I take care of my family. I'm from Willingboro, New Jersey. We started from the bottom up. It's nothing knucklehead about me. I can show you some knuckleheads. Yeah. So that was a comment that I took personal when I had to check immediately. And when it felt personal. But there is a difference. That shows me the intent.
Yeah.
Coach me hard. Kevin Green, one of my favorite coaches, rest his soul. He came in one day. We had a horrible day.
Yeah.
Veins coming out his neck. I'm like, oh, we getting cussed out today.
this gonna be the day.
We getting cussed out today.
Yeah.
Man came in, closed the door behind him. Dead silence. First thing out his mouth. We are better than that. Tears came to my eye immediately. I never had a coach take responsibility like that. That just brought us so much closer. I said, I know this guy has our back for forever. I'll go out there and run into a wall head first for this man.
That's
and
a
still
story.
to this day.
That's a beautiful story.
Gives me chills talking about it.
Having to figure out who can take this and who can take that within a split of a second when you're angry, I'm sure is extremely hard. But for coaches to have that restraint and be like, they better than this.
That's what separates the good ones from the bad ones. Lauren, we talked about the athletes. We talked about the coaching. Now let's talk about that bag. That big bag. And a lot of athletes are getting nowadays. We see the contracts bigger than ever. But we're also seeing on the flip side, athletes dropping a bag.
Yeah.
Going broke. How the heck is this happening? What's going on?
You tell me. You've been in that space before. Obviously, you're getting all this money in a short amount of time, right? Because that's what these contracts usually are, whether they're annual, 3-year, 5-year contracts, but it's M's behind that number.
I know for me, again, we're talking about the masculine, the egos, all of these things that come. But this comes into play as well when you have guys that are making $30 million a year on the roster, and you have guys making $300,000 a year on the roster. Who can spend the most money? Who can, who got the most girls, the chains, all of these things. It becomes a lifestyle of habit, one you can't afford once you finish playing.
It's a mentality. You have to take care of everybody. Like that becomes a responsibility. Right. But like, do these athletes who have money, I mean, it happens on the women's side as well, right? Like these contracts might not be as big, but they have a lot of responsibilities of taking care of family as well, whether that's starting their own family, having to find another job.
You see a $2 million contract, these guys are really making $1 million. Uncle Sam is taking almost half, but still there's a perception that you're rich, multi-millionaire.
I was going to say the homies, though.
The homies.
Homies known as entourage, right?
Right.
You see rappers with it. You see the athletes, big balling athletes with entourages. I mean, I was at the WNBA All-Star weekend, and I saw one of the girls with 4 girls around her. I'm like, this is really how y'all rolling.
We ain't mad at you, sis.
are the entourages, like, are they asking for money? Is it just like a known thing? How do you divvy out?
Yeah. I never had an entourage like that. I had a couple of homies that I have been running with since I was a young cat, before I was totally above water with the things I was doing, but I felt like I owed them. And there was a point where I had to begin to test my friends. I'm like, okay, let me start saying no. Let me see how they respond to that.
Yeah.
In that moment, I lost a lot of friends. And the ugly realization that maybe some of these people aren't here for the right reasons.
Yeah.
My circle is as thin as ever. I got 3 solid ones, 8 one-day ones. And outside of that, I can't help you. I'm broke.
I'm broke, right?
I don't got it.
Like now it's like, I ain't got it. But what would you do differently with the money?
Yeah.
How many years in the NFL?
5 years.
6 years?
And it's easy to spend because, I like to gamble. I used to go to Vegas, 7-day trips.
Strip clubs.
The strip. Love the strip, Down to Vegas, we pool parties. Now we having a bottle contest. You see so-and-so over here, he got 5 bottles. Oh, yeah.
I
need 7 bottles. I need 7 bottles now. These things happen and they're real. When you look up, you wake up, you don't want to look at that account.
Yeah.
I done had nights I spent $12,000 in New York for a couple of people drinks. I don't even know. And it happens so often. They see you as that person and folks they'll leave it up to you.
I also feel like it's not necessarily in the moment. When you're playing and you're getting this money, that's not how you go broke. It's because you created this lifestyle that you can no longer sustain after you're done, after the money's not flowing like it used to.
And
so
it's hard.
that should be an eye-opener. Like, all right, I'm seeing these zeros go down, down, and down.
But that's ego. That's where the ego comes in, and you can't transition. It's hard to transition as an athlete to say, okay, everybody, what you once knew, how I once spent, I can no longer do.
Yeah.
Something inside you wants to say, nah, I got it. When you may not have it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And before you look up, you're the person that was helping everybody else. Now no one can help you. And you're the sad story, and everybody moves on to the next hot thing.
Yeah. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of high-name athletes, Russell Wilson's, the LeBron James, obviously putting money into sports teams now, right? They are starting a new wave of investing on a huge scale.
Yeah.
That's how, athletes out there, to keep some money in your pockets when you have to hang it up.
This can be a difficult situation to navigate. So many people pulling at you, but it's doable. There are people that take their money, save it, invest it the right way. That's the goal. As an athlete, you dream of it, being a pro athlete all your life. You want to be able to retire soundly, financially. It's definitely doable and something that we hope more athletes can get done.
If he can do it, you can do it. So just do it, right? Just get it done. We appreciate you guys so much for joining in on Moses to Moses. I am Lauren.
And this is your boy, Dezman Moses. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, today we had some tough conversations. Lauren,